All right, welcome to our team call. I'm so excited for you guys to be on tonight. I love mindset work. It's kind of the bulk of what I do, and I just think it's the back. I don't really think, but I know it's the backbone to everything that we do, whether it's business, relationships, just life, the way we look at ourselves, the way we perceive ourselves to be successful, to be whatever it is, and we always can work on our mindset bigger and better. And I feel like I've been doing it for years, and we all have, and we all still have things that we need to break through and patterns that we need to break. And I think it's a beautiful thing that we can just be really open and honest with ourselves as we navigate through this, right? Whatever this is. Like it's business, it's life, it's parenting, it's working full time but deciding to run a business, it's running a business but then parenting and trying to find the balance. And there's so many things, and it can get really defeating, right? And if we allow this to derail us and tell us who we are, what we need to be, or what we are, and if we develop that idea that that's what we are, like I said on the graphic that I made, we whatever, whether you can or you can't, you're right. And so I think about all the limiting beliefs I've probably had in the last 10 years, and it's probably hundreds of things. It's hundreds of ideas I, that I had picked up along the way from my past, right? Maybe we have a past experience and we take that information, and that experience didn't go well. Okay? It didn't go to our liking, it didn't go to our advantage, it didn't serve us, it didn't fill us up inside, it didn't make us happy. And then what we did is we gathered the information from that and we told ourselves, well, then you're not going to be X, Y, and Z. Well, then that's not going to happen, or whatever it was, right? So I think about all the ideas that I've developed over the years and all the things that I've overcome. And I want to just say that I think it's a really beautiful thing that we can come here and we could really be vulnerable in saying, guess what? Like, I have this fear, or guess what? I have this doubt, or guess what? Like, I'm staying stuck. Because I think a lot of it is just admitting where we are with where we are, right? And so I want to talk tonight about, and I love talking about the stories that we tell ourselves. And I believe this to be true. I believe that at any given moment, we can change the story. Doesn't matter about anything. We can change the story. And it's not just, and it's like we have these stories, and I like to think that we have these like micro stories, right? It's almost like if you think about walking along a trail and you think about picking up like sticks, okay, like sticks or leaves or rocks or whatever it is that you're thinking that you want to utilize for this. But you're going on a walk and you are picking up all of these rocks, and each rock resembles like a story. And you're picking them up and you're going to like hold on to these, or you're going to put them in like a bag or something. And you're going to what? Like, it's going to get really heavy. It's going to end up being really heavy. It's going to end up being very hard to sometimes break through those, right? And if we hold on to them and we're like, okay, like I'm this or I'm that, or sorry, I'm trying to make sure someone's, oh, here we go. I'm this or I'm that, or whatever we've developed to tell ourselves to be true, then we can't break into a new vision. We can't break into a new light because we have all these micro stories that we've told ourselves that we've like adopted to be our own. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to like keep them. They come in, right? They come in, each and every one of us, we get them. Like one of my big ones, and I'm just going to be really vulnerable here and share. One of my biggest things was like when I stepped into leadership and I was like, okay, like I got to lead a team. Like I want to lead a team. I want to bring women in. I want to be a leader. I want to help them. I want to help them duplicate what I've done. And I developed this idea though for a long time that if I didn't work like really super hard, and if I didn't run this training and do this and do that and whatever it was that I thought I needed to do in order for these people to be successful, and I took that all that on by myself. And I grabbed it and I said, okay, like their success is dependent on me. And if I can't do X, Y, and Z, then they won't be successful. And that's on me. And do you think that's very healthy for one individual to take on? And now I know, like I've had to like figure this out that, okay, that's not healthy. A, B, you can, what is it, lead a horse to water, but you can't, like, make them drink. It's like we can only do so much. And so I've had to overcome that idea and not resist so much about that story and create a new story, right? And be intentional with my time, still show up in the way that I know a leader can and could, and to be very effective and what I know to be very effective. But I also just can't take that on anymore, of that idea and that limiting belief. And so I think we get to ask ourselves, when you think about these stories, and I'm going to do an exercise here in a little bit with Stephanie, and she's going to help us here. And we did, and the reason we actually got this, I just want to share a reason we like got this idea to do this for our team, is we actually did a little bitty mindset call with just her team last week, and it was the most beautiful thing. And we just got on and we shared things, and we shared these limiting beliefs, and we were able to kind of work through them. Because if we don't identify, and this is what I want to help you guys with, and this is what I kind of want to get your wheels turning with. If we don't identify, we've all got the fears, okay? Let's not like hide it or make it be like I'm scared of this or that, and I'm probably the only one that feels that way, and whatever. It's not true. We all do have those things, right? We all started at the very exact same. We all start at the same spot. We just started at a different time. That's the only difference. I've started where you're starting. We've all started, we all started at the same spot with nothing, with no knowledge, with no sales experience, with no whatever leadership experience, but we just started at different times, which is why we come together, and this is such a beautiful thing. But it's like we've got to identify these stories, because it's almost like, and I know a lot of you guys can relate to this. It's almost like, how you talk to someone, a prospect. Maybe you're going to talk to them about Green Compass, this business. Maybe you're going to talk to them about the product. And you know how you get a response from someone, and it is like they are crystal clear in the idea that this will not work because of X, Y, and Z. Or they know that blah, 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 blah. And you're just like, you just kind of scratch your head, because you're like, well, for one, that's like couldn't be farther from the truth. But you're not going to say that, right? But if you really dig into it, it's just their perspective. It's their perspective about a past experience that created that idea that they're going to hang on to, and they're going to keep and having to hold. And what's it going to do? It's going to stop them dead in their tracks from moving forward in what they're able to do with their business, with their life, because they have adopted the story and made it their own. And I don't know about you, but I'm all about like changing my story and identifying the things that I'm like, you know what, Tabitha, is that really true? Like, okay, so I have this fear, I have this doubt, I have this idea, I have this like low vibration today, maybe about a certain thing, but is it really true? Like what I'm telling myself about it? Like, and I think you guys, it's really good to ask yourselves, like, is this true? Because most of the time the answer is no. It's kind of like if we post something and we're like, nobody liked it, nobody commented, nobody wants to buy it, what I have. Like, I already asked this amount of people and they didn't want to, so it must not be for me. Nobody wants what I have, right? Is that really true? Or is that the story that you developed based on the clues that you gathered from one post that you did? And you are going to take that perspective, right? And I've been there. I'm just saying, I'm just putting this into perspective, hopefully for you guys. But we're going to take that idea, and then we're going to interfere and inhibit our growth because we allowed that idea to completely derail us or stop us dead in our tracks. And I don't want that for anyone. And it's like, I remember someone saying, like, I don't know, I just remember someone saying, like, to me, not to me, but like on a like I was on some like call or something, or listening to personal development, and they said, like, you got to believe in yourself for 5 minutes. Like, what if you just believed in yourself today? Like, what if you just believed in yourself for one day, like through it all, through all the things, and because we can't get any wins if we don't actually put it out there, right? So like, if we don't believe in ourselves for one day to move forward, we're never going to see it. Therefore, we're never going to get past any of those things, right? Okay, so one more thing I want to say, and then I'm going to turn it over to Steffi to talk. But it's like, what if you wanted so bad for this business to work? Because I feel like I've had a lot of conversations with people lately, and they're like, I want this to work. I want to do this. I want to run, right? Like, there's this idea and there's this vision. And it's like, what if you wanted to make this business work so bad? Like, would you find a way around it? Like around all of the stories, like and the past beliefs and the experiences and people's opinions, right? Would you find a way around all of that? Thank you. Or would you just like stay stuck and be like, nope, I'm going to develop and adopt that story? Because if we don't break down these tiny micro stories that are in our bag pack or whatever, the little rocks, right? If we don't break down these micro stories, it's going to be really difficult to paint a vision for your life that's beautiful, that's amazing, that's like this big baller goal that you have for your life that you're totally capable of. But it's going to be hard to get to that vision, right? If we are like not breaking down these teeny tiny micro stories that we're telling ourselves. Okay. So I want to turn it over to Steffi. She has a really cool exercise for us, and she's going to share a few things. I'm so proud of her. She's overcome a lot, and she has just a really awesome story. So I want her to share tonight.
Hi, you guys. Can you hear me okay? Because I got an alert that I don't have the best Wi-Fi. Okay. So I'm Stephanie Stutz, and I've been in direct sales for 4 years now. And when I first got started, I didn't know what I was doing. I was absolutely scared. I never took anyone's advice, and I just thought I was going to recreate the wheel and figure it out on my own. And it literally took me like 3.5 years to get anywhere. And then when I started Green Compass, I really put my blinders up and I just started sharing consistently. And in my first month, I was able to make a paycheck that took me 3.5 years to earn with my previous company. So that's just my little story there. But you guys, I've had so many fears and limitations and stories that really held me back the first 3.5 years. I was so afraid of what people would think of me. If they saw me sharing on my stories, I was so afraid that they were going to judge me, that they were going to unfollow me. And now I just welcome the unfollow. Like, if you don't want to see what I have to share and what I'm doing to support my community and my family, then I don't want you following my stories. Can anyone relate to that, right? Like, bye. I have to constantly talk to myself about that. Or like the other day, I had a conversation with someone and he was saying how he no longer smokes weed. And I was like, tried CBD. And he was like, well, why do I need something to help me relax at night? And that kind of like, for a moment, that got in my head. And I got in the car and was like, told my husband, I was like, I don't think I'm going to share Green Compass anymore. Just because I felt so defeated in that moment because someone rejected the idea of CBD, right? And then I was like, hang on, what has it done for me in my life? And also the customers that I do have right now. And also all of the stories we've seen in the product hub. Like literally, Green Compass has been around since 2019 and it's changed millions of lives. So I'm just going to focus on that and not that one dude who questioned me or the person that rejected me last week or the mean comment I got on my reel the other day. I'm not going to listen to that stuff because it's not serving me and it's preventing me from showing up for my community, providing massive value and potentially changing someone's life. So I have a little, what do you call this? A little project for you guys. So get out your piece of paper and your pen and do your paper, put your paper landscape ways. And so we're gonna unpack some things. In the first column, you're gonna write down what you want for your business. So one example could be you want a comma in your paycheck. That monthly paycheck you get from Green Compass, you wanna see a comma. In the next column, you're going to write the story, belief, the fear, or the limitation that says that you're never going to have that comma. Maybe the example is, I don't know enough people. In the third column, you're going to write an affirmation. So if you don't know enough people, what you can say is you provide massive you provide valuable content for your community, and you're building beautiful relationships with the people that you do know, the people that you do see following you and watching your stories. Maybe it's just 20 people watching your stories. But imagine if all 20 of those people ordered from you that month. That's 20 new PCs, right? It's just all about connecting with those people and not necessarily always talking about Green Compass or whatever else you have to sell. It's building relationships. It's watching their stories. It's checking in with them. It's, if you see that they have kids on their story and they went somewhere and did a fall activity, you could connect on that. Like, it's not all about selling your product, but really building relationships with these people. So I like this activity because it really helps you see what you want. And then you can jot down all the stories, the beliefs, limitations that are preventing you from actually achieving that. And then we can recreate the story, like rewrite the script. And then once you're done with that page, really fill it out and then rip off the first 2 columns and just keep the last column. And just look at that every single day. Because when you look at it every single day, you're going to rewire your brain to only see this, to only know this, and no longer see all those fears and those limitations and doubts, all those things that we inherited from our family or just things that we've adopted and chose to believe on our own. That's no longer serving us. That's preventing us from living a life that we really want to live. Now we can look at what we do want to create for our life.
So good. So good. I love that exercise. And I think one thing I want to say about affirmations is, like, have you guys ever felt like, I feel like affirmations can be weird because it's like, I remember when I first like learned about affirmations, it was like, I am successful. I am a good mom. I am strong or whatever, right? And it was like these bold statements where I was like, but if you don't believe it, then it's like saying it never, I didn't feel good. So if you want to flip that, it's like, and Steffi gave an example of this, but it's almost like if you were to say, like, maybe you feel like you're like not managing your time well and you're not being a good business owner. Okay. It would be something saying something like, I'm doing the best I can to manage the time to, to be more intentional, something like that, to where it's like, we're almost describing what we want to do, but not just like this bold statement that feels really like unbelievable almost, if that makes sense. Like, give yourself some credit and kind of give yourself some grace in these affirmations. Like, just like with being a mom, it's like, okay, it's not, we get down on ourselves, right? And we just are like, we're not doing this and we're not doing that. But then it's like, what if we just like look at what we are trying to do? What if we just like value ourselves for what we are doing? Or we're never going to see the things that we're never going to get past those blocks that we have if we can't see what we are doing. So I would love if you guys wanted to just like take some time tonight, like after we get off of this call, to kind of like break down some of these, like identify. It's like where we get stuck, what we decide when we decide we're not going to show up on social media today because we just don't think we have anything valuable to say, or we're not going to work our business today because we're just too busy, like we're not going to make it work, or whatever it is. We're like, think about the things that you tell yourself that in your heart are like putting you off the track that you want to be on, because we're in the driver's seat, right? And we get to do whatever we want and we're in control. And we can't control everything, but we can control a lot of things that we do throughout our day. I want to just open it up for a few minutes. If I would love if someone wants to share, and you're welcome to be vulnerable. This is a safe space. And I'm telling you, if you have this feeling of whatever it is that you're feeling, that you're struggling with, that you're like, gosh, I don't know how to break through it, or you just want to be open and you want to share, I'd love to hear it, and love to hear kind of how you maybe are breaking down that, if you want to share. And you can just unmute if you guys want to, if you want to have something to say. anyone that works a full-time job and a mom and does a successful side business.
Hi. I'll just start talking.
Yeah, do it. Okay, there you
Yeah.
are. I was like, who? I was like, Sheila. Okay, go for it.
Hi. So yeah, that's my limiting belief is that I can't do it all, but I want to do it all. And it's like I'm trying to manage everything, but it's just on top of my own sanity. So I'm just struggling with that. So I was just wondering if anyone, because I know, you know, this is your full-time job, and yeah, I would love to know if anyone else. Yeah.
Steffi, do you want to share?
Yeah, so my family and I have a brick and mortar health practice. So there's that. My husband and I have an online fitness program. There's that. I'm a mama, a very mindful and present mama. And then I do Green Compass and Crunchy. So I wear many, many hats. I also keep the house really freaking clean as best as I can. But I know probably Taylor can speak to this too. She's super organized with time blocking. But it's all about that. It's what time do you have and what can you do in that time? So like I like to really think about what stories I'm going to do on Sunday. I think about what stories I'm going to create for the week. And then I also write out like what content I'm going to create. And I either do like just posts or reels. I'm trying to get better at reels, but really it just comes down to like what time do you have and what can you give up? Like what are you doing that could be you could be working your business? Like you
Yeah.
scroll social media, are you watching
Right.
Netflix? Are you
Oh, yeah, of course. I know that kind of stuff. I guess I'm just more of so asking like, yeah, like how do you like do you do like your reels and stuff ahead of time? Are you blocking that all in one? Like are you doing all of your connects and like all of that? Like do you have like a rhythm of when you're connecting, when you're following, like because I used to be a Beachbody coach. So we used to have like those things, but I was never good at all of that. So I'm just trying to find like a streamlined, manageable, you know, I guess time blocking system that's working for a full-time person.
And I think too, Sheila, that like my personal perspective with that is, for me, like, okay, my days are really similar each day. Okay. Yours might not be like, and then mine aren't always the same, but it's like when you're working full time, it's almost like I think it's hard and it feels very in a box to say I'm going to do X, Y, and Z every single day and this is how it's going to be because that's not real life. And so I think it's almost like you have to take it day by day and you have to look at your day and be like, all right, I've got 10 minutes. What am I going to do in that 10 minutes to like knock it out? Okay, I've got, 30 minutes. Okay, maybe I'm going to spend 30 minutes finding an event to do something to set up so that like because it's hard and we only have so much time. But if you have an event set up, it's like, okay, there you go. That's going to work for you, right? The event in place. And then in the meantime, you're going to be doing these extra things. But I think, I don't know, my personal opinion, because I worked full time too when I built my first business. And it was a lot. It really was. But I was determined that I knew what I had to do to make it work. And I was willing to do that. And I think it's just getting really intentional and not really second guessing, but just being like, all right, I'm going to knock this off and knock this out and write down what I'm going to focus on. So maybe tomorrow, maybe like tonight, you're going to be like, all right, here's what my day is going to look like. And tomorrow, this is what I'm going to do. But you don't have to do all the things, just do a couple things. That way you feel, I think that fulfills us in a way of like, all right, I knocked it out. Kind of like if we do our work for our business, the first part of the day, it's like, all right, I've already got an hour. If I would get my butt up earlier, that's what I'm working on right now is to like get my behind out of bed. And utilize the time that I have in the morning so that I'm not spending the rest of the day chasing my tail, then that would be good, right? And then we can get that block out of the way. And then it's like, all right, whatever the day brings, now nothing can interfere with the fact that I already work my business. And then I can hopefully still have pockets throughout the day to do that. Because you can make trackers, you can do all the things, but I think trackers are great organization, but it can be hard sometimes to follow that all the time and to create that for an everyday staple when our days just don't always go as
Well, I
planned.
love that, like this is like something that I have to like rewire my brain, and I like that you're a leader that is kind of go with the flow because that is kind of how I do work, it's like what I'm feeling is what I'm gonna post and what I'm gonna go with. It's like, yeah, I'm called to a lot of things, but I also have to be very intentional, and that's kind of hard. So I know Emily was talking about like maybe setting up with some accountability partners.
Yeah.
So I have to touch base with her again about that. So maybe that would help me get my ass moving too. And I've been sick, so it's just been but I'm ready to keep moving forward. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You can do it. I know you can.
Thanks.
And also like having a power list of things that you can do every single day. So like you can just like do something on that power list in the 10 minutes that you do have, like Taylor had that amazing business building activity sheet. I don't know if you've seen it, but it's like connect with 5 to 10 people a day, or respond to your people in your inbox, or post 5 stories a day. So like if you have 10 minutes, you could just like pump out 5 stories of like what you're doing, like things that we wouldn't know unless we saw you on your story. That's how you can connect with people too. And then obviously, boomerang of a jelly or a tincture. That's cute. Could be like super simple.
Yeah, and there's someone said Melanie Mitro. Yeah, she does. And a lot of people do have so many different great things, tools, if you want the tools. I just felt like for me personally, I remember trying to force myself into the idea because we're all just wired different and we all just sort of thrive and tick differently. And I remember like, for me, sometimes a daunting list of all the things that I want to check off like makes my head explode. And so for me, it's like I like to look at my business. Okay, what do I need to focus on today? What's the most important thing that I could do today for my business? Let me just start there, right? If I don't have any sales this month, there's my answer. I need to be getting people started on these products because it's a little hard sometimes to get advocates if we have nobody on the products, because we sometimes need to sell the products before we get the advocates, not always. But I think it's just gauging your business. Where are you and where do you want to be? And what do I got to do? Just a couple things today, not to get from A to Z, but just from A to B to move my business forward in one way. And Evelyn, I can relate to this. You just sometimes get up and you have no motivation and then you stay stuck and you feel like a low, and I always call it like my lower vibration days. And sometimes we just need to stay there. But other times I think we need to call our own BS, and we need to, this is just my opinion, and what I found to be true about myself is I know that I can actually shift that energy. Sometimes I don't want to and I don't feel very good and whatever the case is, and I just need to be. But there are days where if you want to snap out of it, it's like shifting your vibration to like go on a walk, move your body, get outside, like shift into something else, not just like sitting at your computer. It's almost like if we're sitting here and we're like, I need to work, I need to work, I need to figure out, but I don't know what I need to post, but I don't know what to post. And then you're just like, it's like you've got to shift in order to come back, because that's when the clarity sometimes will come in. So just do one thing and just be proud of yourself for doing it. I think that's helpful. Well, I appreciate you guys sharing. Does anyone have anything else they want to share? Taylor, do you want to piggyback off anything we said?
I have, of course, like a lot to say on the whole time blocking and planning and all of that avenue of things. But like Tabitha said, it really just depends on you and how you prefer the tasks done. Like, I think that for me, when I was just getting started, it really helped me to have kind of like themed days. So like I would have tasks that were similarly stacked together, and I would do that every Monday, every Tuesday, and like Friday was always follow-up Friday because people get paid on Friday. Friday is just a really good day to follow up with people. So every Friday, my only task that I needed to get done that day was follow-ups. That's it. Like that's my whole focus on Fridays. And Monday was like my content creation day. So Monday was so during the weekend when I was scrolling content or whatever, I'm grabbing sounds, I'm getting ideas. Like I'm never just on Instagram chilling. Like I'm always there. Like, what can I get from this? What can I grab from this? Is this a trending sound? Is whatever. But you can, like, if you have sounds in your notes app on your phone, like the links to them just there, then when you go to record on Monday, when you have 15 minutes, you can bang out 5 reels because you already kind of know, you have your sounds already. You kind of know what you're going to do. And then, like, of course, B-roll content is so helpful too. And you're sitting at your computer, you're playing with your kids, like just prop up your phone with your tripod and you can get content. But I just really think that grouping tasks together and having them in a set day can be helpful when you have a lot going on, because I feel like for me, I have 3 young kids. And when I started my direct sales business, I had no help. My husband worked 6 days a week, 12 hours a week. We lived across the country from family, and I had 3 and under. And when I would sit down to work, it was like, oh my gosh, I have this massive to-do list. I'm so paralyzed, can't even get anything done. But having it like, when you have your days broken down, you don't have to worry like, oh, am I going to have time for content? Or, oh, am I going to have time for follow-ups? Or, oh, like, when am I going to squeeze that in? When am I going to, blah, 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 I have so many things. Like, everything has a place, everything has a day, and it has a focus. And you can even do like a 2-week long one. Like, you can do follow-ups every second Friday. You can do content every other Monday. Like, there's so much freedom, but it's just the concentrated time, because you can get more done in a concentrated 30 minutes than an unconcentrated 4 hours where you're just like twiddling your thumbs. You're like trying to squirrel brain all of the things at once, having that focused 30 minutes. But it's like, when you have that work time, you don't want to be wasting any of it trying to figure out what you're going to do. Like, you need to know already when it's your work time, you're sitting down to your desk, you already know what you're doing. That way you're not getting caught in the scroll. Cause that's a big thing for me too. Like the scroll. And if you're consuming, you're not creating. If you're consuming too much, your own creativity is getting stifled. And this is something that I really, really notice. When I'm scrolling a lot, like, I don't create because everyone else's ideas are so heavy in my head. And it's just, so create before you consume. That's a really, really good just tip to have, like, on your desk, or even as your background on your phone. Like, create before you consume. Because then, like, I know I just pick up my phone and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna open Instagram, even though I like came to answer a text or I came to do whatever. Like, you got to break those habits. But anyways, there was a long tangent right there. So
No, that we could do a whole call on time management and just like all those.
Yeah, I think that's the key, right? But thank you. I loved that, like, not creating, you're consuming, because that's exactly it. Like, wow. Yep. Thank you.
Yes, you guys are welcome. Thank you so much for getting on, and thank you guys for sharing. We really appreciate it, and I hope this was helpful, and we look forward to doing more of these for our team, just because I think that I don't know, it's nice to just kind of put the fears out there so that we can kind of squash them. So, all right, you guys, happy
Let's do a picture. Should we do one?
Oh, okay.
We haven't done one. And this is a big call here.
I love it. All right, I'll take it, and I can try to tag as many of you, okay?
Okay.
All right, ready, set. Yeah, if you want to turn, there's Emily. Here, yeah, there's Michael. Okay, turn on your phone. Okay, ready? 1. Yay! All right.
Okay.
All right, it's gonna
Thanks.
be. Thank you guys. We'll talk soon. Bye.